I got a word for you. This is a letter. It's actually Paul wrote it to somebody else. These people in Galatia a couple thousand years ago, but I have a copy. And in it, Paul says something that I think applies to us especially. He says, "Let us not grow weary of doing good, for in time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Yeah. In 2009, over 100 religious leaders from Catholic, Protestant, and Orthodox traditions, including many of the speakers here today, joined together to author a landmark statement of Christian conscience on life, marriage, and religious liberty that came to be known as the Manhattan Declaration. The Declaration describes marriage as the first institution of society, the institution on which all other human institutions have their foundation. Marriage is the original and most important institution for sustaining the health, education, and welfare of all persons in society. We understand that where marriage is honored and where there's a flourishing marriage culture, everyone benefits: the spouses, their children, and the communities and societies in which they live. On the other hand, where marriage begins to erode, social pathologies of every sort quickly manifest themselves. Experience confirms this, the science confirms this, and even President Obama recognizes this fact. It's the reason that his administration runs a fatherhood initiative that describes fatherlessness as, I quote, "a growing crisis in America, one that undergirds many of the challenges that families are facing. When dads aren't around, young people are more likely to drop out of school, use drugs, be involved in the criminal justice system, and become young parents themselves." These are the reasons that we're gathered here today. Marriage is not about personal intimacy. It is a public good. Marriage is not about what adults want. It's about what children need. Advocates of same-sex marriage often point out that we've failed to uphold our own definition of marriage. And you know what? Too often they're right. Too often we have failed to model for the world marriage's true meaning. So let today be the day we commit ourselves to renewing a culture of marriage. The Manhattan Declaration points the way forward. To strengthen families, we must reform ill-advised policies that contribute to the weakening of the institution of marriage, including no-fault divorce laws. To strengthen families, we must work in the legal, cultural, and religious domains to instill in my generation a sound understanding of what marriage is, what it requires, and why it is worth the commitment and sacrifice. That's why this week I helped to launch a new group, Marriage Generation, whose purpose is to be a voice for marriage for the next generation. To strengthen families, we must stop glamorizing promiscuity and infidelity and restore among our people a sense of the profound beauty, mystery, and holiness of faithful marital love. If you haven't already, today is the day to join the 535,285 Christians who have committed themselves to the Manhattan Declaration movement. Today is the day to say that when it comes to life, marriage, and religious liberty, we must stand up to the cultural winds and never render to Caesar those things that rightly belong to God. Thank you very much.